Hey, Unc, I don't know if you'll even read this, but I had to write it down somewhere. Maybe you'll understand this and maybe you won't. I've always been a MAGA guy, but I don't know anymore. Maybe not. And maybe not in the way most people think. When I say make America great again, I'm not talking about hate or politics or pointing fingers at anyone. I just want us to be strong and respected again. I want people to trust and to talk to each other like they used to and look out for their neighbors. That's what being great again means to me. God, listen to me. I sound like an old man already, and I'm only 43. My dad raised me to believe in this country. I mean, really believe in it. We'd stand for the anthem at every ball game, and I'd actually get chills. I stood because I believed it, not because someone told me to. I believed every word about freedom and the American dream. And for years, I defended this place. My buddy Jake used to call me naive. And, wake up, man, he'd say. They don't give a shit about people like us. And I'd argue with him up and down, tell him he was wrong. Tell him America was different. Well, as it turns out, Jake was right about everything. I voted in every election since I was 18 years old. Every single one. Local, state, federal, primaries, runoffs. I showed up because I thought it mattered. What a joke, right? What an absolute joke. Because somewhere along the way, this country just broke my heart. I gave it my everything, my trust and my loyalty and my vote and my hopes. And what did I get back in return? Division, lies, politicians getting rich while telling us to tighten our belts. Both parties, all of them, they played us like suckers while they lined their pockets. And I'm tired of being called crazy for wanting what they promised. I'm tired of being told I'm the problem when I ask why my town looks like a ghost town now. And they told us that we were the greatest country on earth while they shipped our jobs off to China and replaced us with cheaper workers. And it wasn't just Trump who let me down. And it wasn't just Joe Biden either. It's the whole damn system. Republicans, Democrats, doesn't matter. They all lied to us. They all sold us out. And I remember when this felt different, when neighbors knew each other's names, and when you could disagree with a man and still respect him. And my grandpa came back from the war and he built a life here because he believed America would take care of people who worked hard and did the right things. Well, he died about 10 years ago. But I'm almost glad he didn't live to see what we've become in this country. And I look at my kids now. Emma's 12 and Jake's 9. And I wonder what the hell I'm supposed to tell them. I mean, what kind of country are they getting? Because sometimes I lay awake at night wondering if it's too late, if we're already too broken to fix. So what do you do? What do you do when the country that you love betrays you? When the place you trusted above all spits right in your face? When everything that you were ever taught turns out to be bullshit? Well, part of me wants to just give up. Stop voting, stop caring, stop believing in any of it. Just focus on me and my family and let the rest of the world burn. But I can't. I don't know how to. And I don't know why, but I just can't. Maybe I'm an idiot, or maybe I'm still holding on to something that was never real. But someone has to still believe, right? Someone has to remember what it felt like when America actually meant something. And that's what I want when I say make it great again. Not great for politicians or big corporations, but great for people like my grandpa. And great for people who show up to work every day and just want a fair shot at the American dream. And great for neighbors who actually give a damn about their communities. And I'll be honest, I don't know if that's even possible anymore. Hell, I don't even know if it ever really existed the way I thought it did. But I can tell you this. I'm not ready to stop hoping yet. And Unc, thanks for listening if you got this far. Mike from Ohio, a patriot who still believes. Maybe. All right. Hey, Mike, I appreciate you, man, sharing your letter with us. And I hear every word you got to say, brother. Unfortunately, I got to be real with you about something, man. A lot of times in life, man, the promise is a lot bigger than the payoff. And in my personal opinion, man, I don't think America is ever going to be what it once was. I think that time has passed. And especially on the world stage. We've already went and surrendered that position, man, and a lot of other countries have swooped right in and filled that void. In reality, that happened a long time ago, man. We were just too busy infighting with each other to notice it happening. But that doesn't mean that we can't make things better right here at home where it really counts. My opinion, let me see where we start. I think we would start with safety first, personal safety, because I feel like if people don't feel safe walking down their own streets, then nothing else is going to really matter. That means we got to get over serious, man, about slowing down and stopping crime. Not a bunch of fucking endless slogans or bumper stickers or cute catchphrases, but some actual working solutions. And I think that's the foundation, man, that we use to build on from there. Also, we need to be honest about race relations in this country, people, because that's a big problem. So say theoretically, we fix all the other problems in this country, right? But we don't address this one. We'll be sitting right back here again in 20 years. And that means the same rules, the same protection, and the same kind of respect for every citizen of this country. No double standards, period, regardless of race. And those policies that you implement to fix these problems, right? You measure those by neighborhood and by race. And if the gap that you're trying to fix isn't closing, then fix that policy or kill it. Plain and simple. I see a lot of policies and they say, well, it's not working. It's not working because you're not making it work. In a job, look, jobs go to people who can do the job. You don't get a job to fill a quota, and you don't get a job because your grandfather worked there. You get a job because you're qualified and you can do the job. And then next, I would have to say we need to address education. Our kids need to learn the basics again. We need to go back to the basics. When I was in school, we learned reading, math, writing, history, not a bunch of other distractions. We learned how to think for ourselves. So what we need to do is get back to those basics. We need to give every kid the tools required so that when they leave school, right, they can go out and make a living for themselves. Not a piece of paper that means nada. What I hear is that these kids are being taught how to take tests. I can't remember the name of the test. I apologize. But yeah, they're not really actually being taught how to think analytically for themselves. But we need to come back to that. You young guys out there, tell me about that. How's the education out there? Is that what's being done? But anyway, the next problem, we got education, jobs. We need jobs. I mean, there was a time in our country, man, when this country manufactured and built a whole lot of stuff. And we can do that again, right? I feel like one of the biggest hurdles to, I'm not going to say bringing manufacturing back, but creating new manufacturing, new production facilities is red tape, bureaucracy. That is slowing everything down, and it makes it so hard for companies to do that. So we have to get that out of the way. I'm not saying kill it all, but there's a whole lot of hoops to jump through. Me having started an Amazon business before, I know there's a fuck ton of red tape you got to go through to get any business started. And also here in America, we have to start valuing what Made in America means again. We have to take pride in that. And we have to realize that you get what you pay for. Let's put that shit out there. You get what you pay for. If you want cheap imported goods, that's what you're going to get. But no, too, you buy something American, it's made with quality, it's going to last. You buy some cheap import, you're going to buy it 2 or 3 times. So in the end result is, if you bought American the first time, you help your country and you don't spend all that extra money. But anyway, I think the ship has sailed on those cheap imports, man, because a lot of that shit was coming from countries that were allies who are no longer allies. And I won't say allies, but they were trading partners. They're no longer trading partners. So I'm not sure that that's ever coming back. And on the job situation, for what I've seen, Most people in this country, man, they don't want handouts. They don't want help from the government. They really don't. They want a job. They want a fair shot at a good job and a reason to get up in the morning and go to work and take pride, a sense of pride in what they're doing. Why don't we offer them that? Infrastructure, that's a good one. But we'll talk about that in another video. But people, none of that can work if we don't address the political rot that's in this country, because it fucking stinks. And it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're sitting on, Democrat, Republican, I don't care. Too many fucking politicians are cashing in while our communities are suffering and they're drying up and they're just basically disappearing. So what we need to do is get leaders in there and hold them accountable for the decisions that they make. Not a bunch of people up in DC playing Game of Thrones while the rest of us are down here living with their decisions, suffering, you know? To me, tell me if I'm wrong on this. That means if you make a rule about a school district, right? Your kids have to go to school in that district. And if you set a health policy, you get the same coverage based upon that policy that everybody else under that policy does. And if you vote on a crime bill, well, guess what? You get to live in that same area that you voted on that crime bill. See, that way, we know that the politicians are representing us truly because they're representing themselves at the same time. Most people don't vote against their own best interests. Most don't. You know, do that, do all that right. And then we as individual citizens focus on our own backyard, getting our house together, so to speak. You know, and we don't need some fucking magic button up in Washington to fix this. The real power to fix this is right here with us the people at home. I don't know. I think it's in how safe our streets are, what our kids are learning in school, whether communities are going to start looking out for one another again. That's how we rebuild America. That's how we make it strong again. And I'll tell you another thing we got to do, people, and I say this all the time, we got to start respecting each other again. Neighbors, looking out for neighbors. And I think we all know we're never going to agree on everything. That's just built into it. That's fine. We can handle that. We're adults. Most of us are. But if we can't even talk to each other without viewing the other side as an enemy, we're already lost, people. There's no coming back from that. But in my opinion, my humble opinion, and to answer the brother's letter, that's how we make America great again. Not by waving a bunch of flags or chanting or arguing a bunch of fucking bumper stickers, or by doing the simple but hard things that need to be done right here at home. And that world dominance or prominence, however you want to say it, that might be on hold for now, for right now. I mean, it took us 70, 80 years to get there. And the way the world global economy has changed, I'm not sure we'll ever reclaim that. But does it really matter? We need to be concerned with home. We need to be concerned with making America great again for us, for our children, for their children, right? It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard as fuck. And it's going to require a fight. The real question is, are you still willing to fight for it? Just Unc's words of wisdom.